Isn't motivation something you want? Discipline is something you need. Obsession is something you have to have. I'm going to show you what I wanted, how I got it, and how I was obsessed to get there. We got another episode of Forget the Noise podcast. Today we have my friend Anna Spataro on the podcast. We've been friends for 4 or 5 years now. She's a real estate agent that's locally, has moved away, doesn't talk to me anymore, she's too busy. She's got too much on the go. Like I said, we've known each other 3-4 years. She's got a lot on the go. You guys think I have a lot on the go. She's got even more on the go. First and foremost, her backbone of business is real estate. On top of that, she's got a journal, another free gift, gratitude journal. We'll get into that a little bit later. And on top of that, she's a new mom. Recently got married. They've moved out of town about 45 minutes. So we're going to dive right into it. So first question is, Anna, introduce yourself. You got real estate right off the hop. So Let's talk about that.
Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here, and congratulations on this podcast.
Thank you.
But yeah, I just, like you mentioned, I've been a real estate broker for almost 10 years now. Sophia was born last year. So just been navigating motherhood and growing a real estate business. The past year has been challenging in itself. And then, we published the gratitude journal, my friend and I, about 3 years ago. That was a big part. I know we've spoken about this before, a big part of my self-development and growth journey. So much so that we published our own because we felt that there was never a journal that had everything that we had wanted. So I use it every morning. It's something I'm incredibly proud of. And I feel grateful that I'm now able to pass that on to my family. But yeah, I'm a real estate broker, a landlord, a mom.
I forgot landlord. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll take this episode kind of a little bit differently. As you guys know, I try to keep all my notes organized, but I got squirrel brain. So we're going to start with real estate. So we got 10 years in real estate, locally, Dufferin County, surrounding areas. How did you get into real estate? What was the first stepping stone into real estate?
I actually was going to go to law school. I wrote my LSATs. I don't even know if you know that.
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I studied for it, wrote it, and then I got in, and then I decided I didn't want to go because I had worked at a law firm one Christmas break for a hot minute, and I was like, I don't love this. This is not Suits. So
you literally went to law school, wrote everything.
I didn't. I wrote the exam.
Okay, you wrote the exam for it, and then you went to go work for 2 weeks, and then you're like, nah, I'm out.
Well, I worked at a law firm for 2 weeks to see if it's something I would like to do, not as a lawyer, obviously. It was as an assistant or a law clerk there. And I just was like, I don't love this. This is not for me and my personality. And then I took some time in between university to figure out what.
Number one, I love that. That's not getting cut out. That is not typical real estate agent. Can't give up a deal. Take it.
No, yeah, I think it's actually a client calling, but it's fine.
That is amazing. She just yelled at me.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is I have it on Do Not Disturb, but when you call twice, it bypasses it. So
I don't know that.
Yeah.
See, I got an Android. I don't have an iPhone.
So
anyway,
so sorry about that.
It's amazing.
Anyway, my mom had an interior design business, so we moved around a lot. So I don't know, I was just always gravitated to real estate, and I didn't come from a real estate background in the sense of I had family in the industry, other than my mom having a interior decorating business. That was kind of as far as it went. So I was like, let me just go for it and see, and I absolutely love it.
So you went from law, being influenced by interior design by your mother, into real estate. Why not go into the interior design aspect of it?
I think for me, it wasn't the design component that I loved so much. It was more helping people.
Yeah.
And talking with people. I was always very social, and growing up in school, I would always get in trouble with teachers saying that I chatted and talked too much. And she was like, yeah, now I get paid to talk. So
you're not getting paid today.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But it was more just being able to, I knew my natural skills were just communicating and talking with people. And I was like, I feel like this could be a good use of like what I know I'm naturally good at, and being able to help people was something I was passionate.
Well, that kind of piggybacks off of the gratitude journal.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that. Like the gratitude journal, got into real estate, you wanted to help people. And what's the purpose of the gratitude journal? Like, how did you dive into gratification, I guess? I'm an advocate for it. Like, I believe it. I think it's great. I journal, like, but what started you in that journey of like practicing gratitude?
I don't think like, so we had published it in 2023, and then a year or so prior, I started, maybe even 2 years prior, before publishing it, I had started the practice. But before that, I kept hearing about it, and I was like everyone knows the 5-minute journal, and I was like, so I don't get it. You just kind of like write almost the same thing in a journal every day. It seems so pointless, and I just didn't understand the concept. And then it kind of entered my life when I was at a very low point in my life. Like, just, we were supposed to be getting married. I ended up calling off like our original wedding. We ended up getting married in Greece. There was a lot of like family drama, I know, you know, like at the time that I was going through. And it trickled into a lot of aspects of my life. My business began to suffer. I just felt like I didn't know like if we were going to end up like even getting married at the end of this, just because of like, I felt like I was in such a low point that I just saw like all areas of my life impacted. And I was like, you know what do I have to lose here? Because everyone keeps talking about this. Like, let me just try this practice. And it came at a time where like I tried the practice, and I was on this like 5 a.m. morning call with about, oh my God, it's a client. I have an offer going on right now. That's why.
You can answer.
No.
You can make a deal on camera.
No, it's fine. I won't. Yeah. She's just like, how do I deal with this? I just need to mute it completely. Do I shut my phone off?
No idea.
Like, okay, wait. Turn my phone off.
Does he not turn the phone off? That is awesome. That is like the best on the podcast. Because right before the podcast started, she literally turned to me. She goes, I know the way you are. Make sure your phone is off. I'm like, yeah, I'll make sure my phone's off.
It's on Do Not Disturb. Okay.
Anyway.
I'm like, maybe if I put it away, it just won't ring.
Hopefully it'll just ring between every other question. Not while I'm talking,
like,
right? Okay, so like you're in a low spot.
Yeah.
Let's pick this back up again. You want to give gratitude a chance. So I heard this quote a few months back, and it was actually pretty cool. And it resonates with this. It's, a mirror can praise the body and never see the war behind the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, especially as a business owner or someone going through a hard time, or a lot of people don't see what's actually going in, but like behind the scenes. Yeah. That's why I journal, because like I look back at myself and kind of say like, this is the shit I've gone through 6 months ago. It wasn't that bad, but no one else knew I was going through that. Only that journal knows what. And I don't do like the whole like, you know, affirmation statement. I used to, but I don't do all that anymore. So how do you feel about knowing like you have to show up every day, put a smile on your face, especially with what you do? You're like front and center. And then like there's this like war going on behind, like, and you can't let anyone know. Like, do you ever feel isolated? Do you ever feel like you're not going to make it? Or how do you just get through it? How do you just like turn it off and just say like, okay, it's work time?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it's definitely something I'm still like learning how to navigate. And especially once Sophia was born, like I'm in this navigating this whole new world of like being a mom for the first time. I didn't have a mat leave, and then I have live deals happening and clients calling me, and I'm trying to almost put aside that like I just had a child to be there for my clients and separate the two. And then to your point with like also being in like a low point like a couple of years ago, it's tough, because I feel like a part of my success, or a large part of my success, is like you are the brand and the business, right? So it's like, it's hard to separate the two. And there's times where I feel like on the outside, I have so much success, but then on the inside, I'm like, I don't. It sometimes feels like a bit of an imposter syndrome, because you're like, well, if only they knew what was going on behind the scenes. And there was so many things going on behind the scenes, but then on the outside and on social media, like I get messages from people that they're like, oh my God, it's so inspiring, everything you're doing and all this stuff. And it's nice to hear, but then also it's just a reminder for people that like you only see one side of what it is, a highlight reel.
That's exactly what it is. I find with myself even, like I've had people say, hey, that's really cool. You guys are in the studio and this.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't know I'm in like a little showroom with blankets hanging on the wall to keep the sound out. Like, you know what I mean? It's like they see the front and center and then they're like, you know, that's so cool. I'm like, it's not everything.
Like they see the final product,
I know,
but
right?
like not what it took to like get there and the behind the scenes. So it is tricky to separate the two sometimes, especially because like what I do is you have to be there for people emotionally. So then you, in order to do that successfully, like you really have to put your own shit aside to like, how can I help this person in the best way possible? And it's like, it's a constant battle, and it's even more of a battle now, like navigating like motherhood with it too.
And I feel our industry is kind of lying that way because I feel like I'm contractor first, financial advisor, marriage counselor, like emotional support dog. Like I feel like I'm all of that because like you're purchasing a house, which is the world's like a homeowner, a person's biggest purchase. And on top of that, I'm tearing it apart and have to put it back together. So it's like, I feel like we're kind of aligned that way where it's like, we got to guide people through that process. And if you're having a bad day, you can't show up to work having a bad day.
Yeah.
But you just got to turn it off.
Yeah.
It just sucks to do that.
And it's unfortunate because in the sense that like no one really cares if you're having a bad day because they have bigger shit going on. They're trying to sell a house, right? And they're stressed. So it's like you have to like absorb their stress and help them. Like they hired us for a reason. So it's not like you can be like, oh, well.
I like that. How you have to absorb someone else's stress because I never thought of it like that. But I'm like, how many times in a day do I take on someone else's stress on top of my own? Because like, I know I have more than enough stress as it is, as you know. And I'm like, now that you said that, I'm like, okay, because I had a homeowner call me worried about this and worried about that and doing this. I'm like, I do feel like I'm absorbing
right.
that.
Like, because we're the problem, we're
right?
the problem solvers for people, though.
And do you feel like you have a lot of like or input and you never get an output? Like, I feel like there's always input. It's always coming at me, and I'm like, I never have the outlet, which we'll get into like a little bit later on with like the gym and personal development and stuff like that. But do you find like with real estate, a lot of it's just like coming at you like, hey, can you do this and can you do that? And when's this gonna happen? When's that gonna happen? And no one's asking like, hey, Anna, like, are you handling it well? Like,
there's definitely, and especially, I mean, it ebbs and flows like in busy seasons. Obviously, it feels like it's way more overwhelming at times, and then it feels like everyone's coming at you, like right now, calling you and throwing things at you. But I mean, I think that's why it's so important to also like take time to like reset, because I mean, I've gotten a lot better at setting boundaries within my business and not feel like I need to constantly respond to people within seconds, because it's very easy, as you know, for it to just like take over your whole life. And then you build like,
like it's so quick to do, right?
Yeah. Like, and then you just kind of like build resentment, but it's like we kind of like create that. I mean, we set the boundaries that clients, like, they don't know any better, right? So if we're setting this precedent that like, okay, you respond within seconds and you answer the phone at like 10 p.m. every night, then like they're gonna obviously.
I had a client like that, and Sunday I even turned to cash one day, and I'm like, I'm not taking on this client, and she's like, okay, we'll keep working with them. I'm like, we're already setting a bad like standard. Like, we have standards as a business. We're a legit business. Like, these are our standards. They don't like it. They don't work for it. Just as much as they're seeing if they want me working for them, I see if I want to work with them. It goes two ways. It's like a marriage. Yeah, exactly. One thing I do want to talk about, we never touched on, is your mastermind, because you know me, I'm an advocate for it. I love masterminds. I have not been invited to a mastermind to see it and talk to people, but tell me a little bit about it. Like,
so
where did it start from? Who's involved? Like, what do you guys do?
The mastermind started last January, so it's been almost like a year and a half of them. We do them every month, and they're just real estate agent only masterminds. And the initial reason that I had wanted to create these was I just feel like there's such a lack of support in the industry. And again, just being in it for so long now and moving brokerages and stuff, common feedback I hear from other agents is they feel alone, whether they're a solo agent or they're on a team. A lot of people feel they're alone or they don't have the support. And I'm like, how can we create a space to just bring people together from all different like neighborhoods, communities, areas, brokerages, and just kind of like support one another? And I do feel like our industry is also just going through a huge change too, that I'm like, we need to really collaboratively work together here. And I mean, we've been doing it, like I said, a year and a half, and it's been so successful to the point where we had to cap them every month because we were just having so many agents coming, which was so incredible that the response was so great, but we had to just cap it to around 15 people. And then we have like a different guest speaker come every month. And that ranges from like a home inspector to a stager, just different. This month we have a bookkeeper coming. So it kind of just depends on the month. And then we try to cater like topics around like what that guest speaker is going to be talking about and pull it into like value for the agents or value that for the agents that they can give to their clients as well. Yeah. And it's just really like helped create a sense of like community for people. Okay. It doesn't help that I'm turning this off. If I figure out how to turn it off.
I think you just hold the button.
Yeah.
Drew's got an iPhone. How do you turn it off?
Volume up and power button.
Oh, both buttons?
Yeah, you gotta hold both.
There you go.
There you go.
This is what it's coming to. I have to shut my phone off.
And on today's podcast, we learned how to shut off an iPhone. All right, but the mastermind. So I want to know, because a lot of people ask me this, and like I get, and we're kind of the same. Why add more to your plate? Why not pawn it off on someone else?
Yeah.
Or give someone else the idea, or plant the seed with someone else, saying, "Hey, this would be great to do." You do it. Like, why add to your plate? I know why I do it. I just want to know why other people do it, right?
I was going to say that question coming from you.
I know. I'm horrible for it.
But I think I've come to realize I get really great fulfillment from helping people. And again, it goes back to what I said with like why I got into the industry. And it's not necessarily helping just clients. I'm realizing about myself that I just get genuine fulfillment from like helping even other agents. And I even just like the satisfaction I get when I like see them succeed off of something that like we've created for them, and like the messages I get after. I mean, yeah, selfishly, it just fills my bucket. It's fulfilling for me.
And I'm at that point too. That's the podcast is a passion project.
Yeah.
I want to bring value to people. The episode with me and Kasia was based on couples working together, running businesses together, like how to take away from that, how to manage it, how to like deal with the challenges. My buddy Eric, who was on, that was all about navigating being a new business owner, the problems you're going to face, stuff like that. A lot of my solo episodes are like imposter syndrome, or like taking something off your plate to put something on. Like, so I appreciate the fulfillment thing because I'm at a point in life where I'd like to collaborate, not compete.
Right.
So we can do something together and bring value to someone. Like I'm joining like the D-Bot right now. And I want to be on the board of directors because I want to bring more value to them. I think there's a lot more value that can be brought to business owners. So I really appreciate that. But like, it's all been about like helping others and bringing value to others. So let's brag a little bit. Like, let's brag a little bit. Okay. So tell us your biggest change to date and your biggest challenge to date. And then we'll get into some accomplishments.
Biggest change to date?
Yeah. As a whole, from day one, you started as an agent 10 years ago to today. Like, what's the biggest thing where it's kind of like, whoa, I can't believe that? Like, it could be everything. It could be personal, like you couldn't picture yourself being a mother and married. You could be at a new brokerage. You could be selling $1 million homes instead of $200,000 homes. Like, it could be anything. I just want to know where someone saw themselves day one versus now, because I find, especially after 7-8 years, like people don't realize how far they've come. So I like to bring that to light with my guests, where they're like, yeah, you know what? Fuck yeah, I did do that.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. And you kind of take for granted what you've accomplished because it just becomes a normal thing. That's why I'm like, there's been so much accomplished, but to answer it, I guess like the biggest change for me is learning to let go of trying to please everyone and really leaning into who Anna is. And when I let go of that, I feel like I saw a lot. It became a domino effect in my business and my personal life. I feel like business began to grow more because I was able to just authentically lean into who I was without worrying about, oh, well, if I post this, are people going to think it's like dumb or not cool or whatever the case is, versus just being like, no, this is me and I'm just going to attract like.
What I said when we first started the podcast? I'm like, don't worry about it. Who, the 6 followers listening? Like, who
but
cares?
It's like you have to, and I hear so many new agents where they see like Anna now 10 years later. And it's like, but if you scroll deep down on my feed, like, and the videos that I posted before are like so cringy. And it's just like you have to start somewhere
Yeah,
though.
no, you do.
But
You
people
do your
just
thing.
see the final product of
know.
like where you're at now. And I think the biggest change is just like those small incremental consistent moments throughout my whole career. But it's, for me, I'm recognizing it's just letting go of like everyone else's opinions and approval and just leaning into who I am. And I feel like once I did that the last 2 years, like everything is just like kind of blown up in a good way.
I'm just going to assume that was the biggest change. So I think organically, the biggest challenge would be overcoming your biggest change.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because I feel like at the time, like this is all happening, and then a year being into a mom, which is a huge change in itself. So like there's that component of it. And I feel that like as I'm still kind of overcoming it, I'm definitely a lot better, but there's a part of me, and I don't know if like, I said this to my therapist actually like last week. I've been feeling like the last few months that there's this feeling, and I don't know if you've ever felt this, that there's a feeling inside me that it's either something is unexpressed or you just feel like you can do more and then you're having a hard time expressing it. And I'm like trying to figure out like what that is. And I don't know if it's growing my business or what the case is. And I feel like there's a version of Anna that I'm like still trying to like let go of and shed and come into who I, again, because it goes back to there's a lot of like just childhood trauma that I carry. And I feel like it's hard to come into your full self when you're carrying this like burden. So I think I'm finally on the cusp of like letting go of that. And then that's probably what the feeling is inside me, is like the full true Anna is probably trying to come through. And it's like, I feel like I'm on the like brink of it, just like letting go of a lot of the trauma.
See, I felt that a few years ago, and I feel like it wasn't so much something that I wasn't growing into it, but what is it called? It's deferred life mentality.
Okay.
Where it's like, oh, when I make $100,000, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And then you get to 100,000. It's like when I have 2 kids, like I feel like I'm constantly living that lifestyle where I haven't like.
But then the goal.
I'm a fucking adult
changing,
now. But I'm like, I wake up one morning, I'm like, I'm a fucking adult now. I have a salary. I have a company. I have a business. I have a job. Like, now is it like today's the good old days?
Yeah. Right.
Like, wait 10 years and like today's going to be the good old days, right? Like that deferred life where you're like always pushing it forward. We'll get into goals a little bit later and stuff like that. But like, so I kind of get the feeling. It's like, I don't feel like I'm not my true self. Because I really feel like today, this time is where I'm actually feeling like myself. Like I'm really dialed into myself, and I don't know if I love it or I hate it, because there's days where it's like, I think I said on another podcast, or I was talking to someone, like I was saying, like, I don't care to ask someone how their day was unless I genuinely care how their day is. I will walk into a room, walk right past someone. If they ask me, you didn't ask me how your day is, how my day was, I'll say, because I don't care. Because that's a waste of my time. Like that's where I'm really dialed into myself now. So I feel like I'm actually truly myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but I just don't have time for mundane, complacent kind of conversations and stuff like that. But like that deferred life one, like that really hit me recently. Yeah. So like you were saying, there's this version of you that's not finished yet. Yeah. I kind of feel that with the like next steps where it's kind of like when I get here, but I think that's an entrepreneurship mindset too, because you're always thinking, I started a fucking podcast. I know. Yeah, I just randomly, hey, you want to be on the podcast? You got a podcast? Not yet, but it's gonna happen. Like so.
And I think the tricky part too is like for me when I was saying like, oh, there's this like feeling that I like want to do more, and then I'm like just even with conversations with people, some people are kind of like, well, you don't necessarily like have to do more right now because it's just the season of my life that I'm into where I physically like can't necessarily do more because I'm home with a 1-year-old who's not in daycare and like my time is just so limited. But then there's that part of me, that like entrepreneur part of me that's like, I feel like pulled back in a way because I'm like, oh, I just want to go. But then I need to remind myself, okay, but these are like moments that I'm going to miss with my daughter. So I need to also just like enjoy that. And it doesn't always need to be so go all the time.
And I feel like that's an unteachable lesson because I have kids that are 16 and 14.
Yeah.
And like going back to the baby stage, like I was pretty present as a parent.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm like, I missed out on a lot. Like, I feel like I wasn't living in the moment.
Right.
I was looking forward to like, my kids are a little bit older, we can go on cooler walks or better trips or this and that. And I wasn't appreciating the 1, 2, and 3.
The stage that they were currently in.
And when they were 7, 8, 9, I was looking at 12, 13, 14. Now that they're teenagers, you know, my son gets in his car and goes. He goes, I'm going for dinner later. Gone, right? I'm like, kind of, so I can appreciate that. But I can appreciate the mindset of like, I just want to go.
Right.
Like,
so it's like this constant battle of like, you want to keep going, but then kids just naturally like, they force you to just be more present.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think
they need you to survive.
Right. So it's like, I think it's hard when it's like personalities like us, where you're so used to just kind of like going at lightning speed, but then they really force you to like slow it down and just like appreciate the moment. So, I mean, she's definitely like taught me that, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I just need to send this email. And then she's like crying and like pulling to be held, and you just can't send the email. So you're like, I have to be with you. So you just have to just like, I'm like learning to just like separate it and surrender to like what the season is right now in my life.
Yeah. It doesn't look like you're kind of pulling back on go, right? Because like 2025, slowest year in real estate.
Yeah.
I heard some like 0.6% of agents sold a house. Like it was like an insane stat. Don't quote me on it, but it was like a stupid stat. House prices are down, more buyers, less sellers, and 2025 was your biggest year.
Yeah. And it was, it was like,
you're like, oh, I just want to go, but I feel like my kids are pulling me back. And you're like banging out biggest years when it's the world's slowest economy. Because the renovations were the same thing. It dipped down. I know people got squeezed right out.
Yeah.
And you're out there just like kind of crushing it. So like, why? Do you think social media was a part of that? Because you've really, because we're going to get into that next. It's like, do you feel like the years of social media over and over again, the repetition, building the credibility, the authority during 2025 when people were tight on money, making more conscious decisions, landed you more deals because they got to know you over the years personally?
I do think it was a lot of relationship building over the years that just kind of like, I mean, it's all just like being there at the right time where someone's, you know, wanting to make a move or buy or during that period of time. And I think for me, it was so interesting because I was so nervous when I found, well, it was a mix of emotions when I found I was pregnant, but like there was definitely a large feeling of like, holy shit, this is gonna like slow my business down. And I don't know how I feel about all this. Like this was my first baby, right? So I was so scared in a way. I was so excited, obviously, but then I was like, I don't know what this means. And I just remember like clients saying to me, because we were putting listings on like around the time that I was going into labor, and they were like, are you going to be around? And I'm like, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but like, I will be here and we'll figure it out. And I just think like, I was just so confident that I was going to somehow figure it out, that like everyone had this blind confidence with me that like, okay, she says we're good, so we'll figure it out. And I don't know, like it was just like such a slow year with real estate, but it was like by far in the 9.5 years, like, and even COVID was a crazy year. Like last year was my busiest year. And I think it was because I also just got like super intentional with my time. Like I didn't have time to waste anymore because I had this newborn child that it's just like, you get super clear on like, hey, who's actually going to like transact and like
80/20.
who can I deal with? Like that's actually not like going to waste my time and like, let's go, because I have to like come home and like, I'm waking up every 2 hours in the middle of the night, like feeding her, whatever the case is. So like my capacity was already so at its like, it was stretched that I'm like, I just need to work with people that are serious. And I feel like you just cut through the bullshit because you just, you don't have the time. And that's, I guess, translated into like just straight like deals.
I did it with our business when we opened the office. It was like, now we're going to do the 80/20 assessment. Like 80% of our time goes to 20% of revenue, and 20% of our time goes to 80% of revenue. So we're only going to concentrate on that 20. It does suck as a business because at first it feels like you're losing, but you don't really in the long run, right? But like, I really want to touch on the social media thing because like, you're phenomenal on social media. You've really become vulnerable on social media. Big reason I'm doing this podcast is to become vulnerable.
Yeah.
Bad at having conversations. I'm just kind of like all over the place. So like, do you find it hard putting time and effort? Well, now you're seeing the results, right?
Yeah.
But at first, like this podcast, for instance, or me doing personal branding, sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, it's hard doing something where there's not an immediate ROI.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what the return is.
Yeah.
Like I do a job for someone, I swing a hammer, I get paid.
Yeah.
You show them a house, they sign a deal, you get paid. But what we do on social media, there's no ROI to measure. So do you find it hard to like put that time in, or are you like me where you're just like, I love being center of attention, so I'll jump on the camera anytime I can get, right? Like
I think now it's just so second nature to me that I don't think twice about, oh, well, I got to carve out time for it. I've gotten more into just like documenting my life versus like creating. So it's just become easier in the sense of it doesn't feel as like scheduled. I'm just like, I'm going to bring people along with what I'm doing. And people are so nosy that they just love to know what people are doing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
But when I was creating content, I used to, I know you remember, like I used to do content, like batch it, like 12 videos every month.
We've done collabs together on content, right?
So I was doing that like heavy, like 2-ish years ago, I'd say. But the algorithms changed. That's such a buzzword. It's shifted. And I feel like there's not necessarily a place for that type of content on Instagram the same way it used to be.
Yeah.
And it shifted more to just like real, raw, like documentation of content. I think at the very beginning, I was a little bit nervous to show up. And the biggest things I always hear from people is I don't want to talk on camera, but I mean, you have to, like, you just have to. There's going to be no, like, I believe in it so much because social media, Instagram specifically, it's like 80% of where my deals come from is Instagram. So I'm like, if I don't show up and talk to this camera, like no one is going to know who I am. They're not going to DM me and reach out. It's like we're building this relationship digitally. My Instagram's already sold people on me before I even like have a conversation with them.
Yeah,
so
yeah. No,
it's like an online resume now.
Yeah, it is. And people, that's where I find people go to right away because like even when I walk into an estimate, I have homeowners that come to me and said, oh, we looked at your Instagram, or we looked at your Facebook page. And I'm like, you didn't even check out my website. Like you didn't even look at my website. Like you looked at who I was, right? And I get a lot of homeowners following me personally now before they even follow my business.
Yeah.
Because they want to know who I am as a person.
Right.
But I do find a lot of people do have a problem not only being on camera, becoming vulnerable. Right? Which I'm trying to, like I said 10 times today already, I'm really trying to be more like that. You have your marriage, you have your real estate business, you have being a mother, you have personal fitness, personal development. Like, do you find it hard at all to be vulnerable in any of that? Or was there one of those things that was more difficult to become vulnerable, where it's kind of like, I don't know if people are going to jive with this. I don't know if I'm going to get the same feedback as real estate, as being a mother. Like when you introduce being a mother or personal like fitness, did you find your kind of following kind of shifted? Like who followed you, who responded? Like what was the whole journey like? Because you've incorporated like, some people are like influencers in just one aspect. You're like, here's my whole life. Fuck it. It's on the table. Pick up whatever page you want. I spilled the book kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like it has to be that way for me though, because I find the clients I work with, we're going through similar like life stages at the same time. So it becomes relatable. Like now my content has just become like motherhood and business, right? So like now that's a big portion of what people see on my page, but it's resonating with like so many moms now. And then they end up like messaging and it just starts conversation about whether like it's just relatable for them, whether they're on a mat leave or they have kids that are like way older than Sophia. And they're like, oh, I remember like when my kids were this age, and it just becomes this opportunity to like build a connection. And I find like whenever I'm going through like life changes or milestones, like when we were planning our wedding and going to Greece to get married, that became like the hub of my content. It was like planning a destination wedding, and then people would follow along with that. And when I was, even with like the training for the half marathon, it was so crazy to me, the amount of people that like messaged me good luck on the race day that I had never even met because I brought them along to the whole training thing. I'd never ran a half marathon. They saw me like every morning showing up to like run. And yeah, like people are just brought in through all these stages, and it's just like, wow, I feel like I really know who Anna is, the person, not just like the real estate broker.
Was it strategic though when you started bringing more stuff into the social media, I guess, limelight, or is it just like whatever I'm doing, take it or leave it? Like I'm just gonna put everything out there, or was it like strategic, saying, hey, instead of concentrating more on, you know, my wedding stuff or being like a wife now that I have a baby, I'm gonna park the wife role and put the motherhood role on there. Like, is that a strategic plan when you do that, or is it just kind of very organic? Like, that's what I'm dealing with every day. Like,
yeah, I honestly, I've never really thought about it like strategically. I don't know, maybe I should more, but like, it's just been very organic in the sense of, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and I'm just gonna bring you along for it. Real estate's like, for the most part, pretty boring. So I feel like that content's like not really what people want to see. I think about it as like what I consume when I go on the platform. What do I enjoy? And then I kind of work it backwards.
I find it's very repetitive, right?
It's like for the most part,
you've seen one house, you've seen them all. Like I know they're all different, but it's like from the drone footage into the front door, and then a real estate agent talking, and then walk through the house, and like, that's it. Like I've seen this 1,000 times. So like, I do get it, right?
And there's
like,
also like so many of us that it's like, no one really cares that you're a realtor. Like no one wants to go on your page and see like just sold, just listed. They want to know who you are. And it's like, you're going to be working with these people for like months. Sometimes like I have one that's been on for like almost a year. Like there's times where you're like really in deep, like a long time with relationships with these clients. So like you got to be able to connect more on just like surface level here, and the social media component as to like sharing so much of my life is like where we're able to connect, and it makes working with them so much more enjoyable because now it's like not only are we clients, but we've built a friendship too.
Well, it's a personal resume. It's a branding like strategy thing. That's how we met in social media. We were at the gym one morning. You're like, "Are you the AC custom guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the AC custom guy." Yeah, that's it, right?
Freaking hat.
I know, right? But it is such a strong platform, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why I want to have people like you on the podcast, because you kind of veered off of that, and you kind of like, I'm not going to do just real estate.
Yeah,
I put myself out there and kind of do it, right? So I do like that. Real estate as a whole, we kind of touched on how boring it is. Let's talk about some noise in real estate right now, like
noise,
trends, things that you think.
There's a lot of noise, I feel.
I know, but like trends you think are just pointless, mundane. Like, what do you disagree with going on in real estate right now?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of disconnect just amongst the like real estate community. Like in real, on like the real realtor to realtor. I just feel like there's a big disconnect. And I mean, clients, the consumer will never see it firsthand. And behind the scenes, it's just, if everyone could just like get on the same page and work together, I feel like there's so many times where I've seen it go so much more smoothly when people are working together versus an agent that's just like not willing to cooperate with you and thinks that they're working in the best interest of their client. And there's just deals that fall apart because of the realtor. And I'm like, if only the sellers or the buyers knew that this is how you were representing. And it just seems like there needs to be more. I know we talked about vulnerability, but it just, there needs to be more like vulnerability amongst the like realtor to realtor. Even when I call agents and I'm like, okay, I got an offer, like appreciate the offer, like just being super transparent, like where do you think like we can kind of land and on a price and all this stuff. And some people are like, well, I can't say anything. It's like, okay, but I feel like give us something here to work with. But then other agents where you talk to and they're like, look, like they don't really, they're trying to keep it around this number, like maybe around here we can make something happen. And it's just like, okay, now we have something to work off of. So I feel like the industry in general is going through like a big shift. There's a lot of fear. Like I feel like people are just nervous with AI. How does that going to impact the real estate industry? There's a mix of like people collectively working together, but then there's also a mix of like everyone's just kind of like trying to fend for themselves because they're just like scared.
You think that's generational? Because the generation's kind of turning? Because I feel like we're in that generation where like slowly were kind of taking over the industries.
Yeah.
And the older ones are kind of stepping back. And
Yeah, I do feel like there's almost like it's cycling.
I see it on
through.
teams too. You have like parents and kids
Yeah.
taking over, and they're kind of like, I talk to the kids like, oh, my parents want to do it the old school way. And then you talk to like the parents are like, oh, they'll never do it the way we did it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys never get a fucking deal done.
I know.
Like,
I do feel like the older generation, they are just stuck in their ways. And I mean, you see most realtors, I feel like it's more like the younger generations now coming through, like even the brokerages, they're more like, there's so many like newer ones that are up and coming, like cloud-based brokerages are just more tech forward ones versus like the old school brokerages that have been around. Like the whole industry is just changing, right? So I think the biggest thing is like people just kind of adapting to where like our world in general is heading and being able to just like pivot to like where we're at now as an economy as a whole, and how can we properly like guide our clients accordingly. Like I know there's so many people too where they don't want it, they're set in their ways with like, oh, well, they don't see the value in staging, let's say, or something like that. And I see listings all the time where they're just like, maybe if that agent took some time.
Staging.
Yeah.
And things got to stop. I look at some houses, I'm like, oh my God, it looks so bad with AI staging. Just stop. Like,
or it like totally like changes the layout of a home.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's misleading because you'll book a showing off of the photos and then you go in and it's like, oh, well, this is not. And virtual staging is fine, but it can't be like totally reconstructing the house.
That's what I'm at. Like, you know what I mean? Because I've seen houses that I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, that's so-and-so's old house. I go look at it. I'm like, that's not their house. Like, it's just gone a little too far, right?
And I'm noticing too, like a lot of people are the conversations, just because I guess the nature of the economy we're in, like people are a lot more intentional with like where money's being spent, and sometimes like the conversation about like commission comes down, and some people are okay to like drop it just to get like a listing. But right now too, like this past year, I've just gotten very intentional with like working with people that are serious. There's no like testing the waters. We're not going to like put the house on at an overpriced price and just test it out and only take it off. Like I personally pour like thousands and thousands into each listing. So it's just everyone being on the same page. So I've gotten a lot clearer with the conversations I have with people in terms of being able to like sift through who's serious and like who's just kind of like feeling it out.
Exact same thing with contract. Like now, before I'd be like, you know, I feel weird asking someone their budget. Now I'm like, hey, listen, this is what the budget is. If you want the job done right and half decent, this is what the budget is. You want high end, this is what the budget is. Kind of thing. Like, it's not even at the point where I ask them what their budget is. I just had a call yesterday. I called someone that called me for an estimate. I'm like, hey, look, you're looking at this job. Yeah. Do you have 20 grand in the bank? And they're like, we're looking to spend about 25. I'm like, okay, I'll show up. Because I'm not going to come in there and compete with someone that's entry level or doesn't do the standard of work we do. Like, I hate to be an asshole about it, but a spade's a spade. You know what I mean? Like, if the job costs that much, then do it. Like, I feel like there's a lot of that in the real estate industry where people are like trying to strategically list a house. Like, we'll draw in a bidding war, or we're going to overlist and make them feel like they're getting a deal, or like, I'm like, just sell the house for what it's worth. So many more deals will get done. Like, you know what I mean? If we know this house is going to sell at 810, let's just list it at 815.
I know. So, like, well, that's what's confusing, is because there's so many different strategies happening right now. So it's like no one's on the same page. Some people are trying to like list low and get over. Some people are like still in like COVID pricing. And most people for the most part are like realistic, but there's a bit of everything happening.
Even comps now. Like, I have some friends that are like, oh, they comp this house, you know, 3 kilometers away on the other side of town in this neighborhood. I'm like, well, one, that's a shitty neighborhood. I know the houses, they're both 4 bedrooms, 2,200 square feet, but they're not in the same area. They're not backing onto a parquet. Like, they're taking like the weirdest comps and just comparing them. But I'm like, it's not really the same. Like, it's just like,
I know. It's a lot of just like educating people.
So you wake up every morning, work out, mother, wife, real estate agent, gratitude journal, mastermind group, mentor, whatever else you do. What's your why? Like, why do you do it all? Like,
originally, I think the why was
underlying childhood issues. I know everyone has that. Yeah, it's like that chip off your block.
Yeah,
right?
I think it was like, I think I started tying like achievements to feeling safe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if I just like make this much or do this or like whatever.
No one can take that away from me because I did it. Yeah. No,
so, I mean, I'm sure you hear this all the time, and I hear it just in our industry. yeah, like it just became like, because I never felt, I guess, like safety, that this was like my one way to control how I felt safe. And there becomes this like light that I guess you have, where it's like, the light is like being so driven, but then it's like a double-edged sword, where there's also this darkness where you feel like, okay, well, you don't need to always be like chasing too. Like it's with it, like you being super clear with why are we chasing? Like it doesn't have to always just be like, you are good enough. You don't need the approval of everyone else. Now the why has shifted more to showing my daughter what's possible. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, which is totally like, I respect, and everyone's like decisions are obviously like theirs to make. But for me, like my career is such a big part of my life, and I never want to feel like I was raised being told like you can't really be a successful business owner and a present mom. And I just feel like now I'm on a mission to prove that you can be both. And I want to show my daughter that you can, if you choose to do that, like you can successfully do both. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, you can, but I don't ever want her feeling like you have to pick, because I felt that way.
Yeah, and I feel like the two most important days in life are when you're born and when you find out why you're born, right? And I feel like now I'm at the point where it's like, I found out why I'm born.
Right.
It's to build something. It's to set a standard. It's to kind of be the accountability person for the people around me, right? Either my kids, my wife, friends, family, coworkers, whatever it is. I feel like I've taken enough of a beating where it's kind of like, okay, I'm pretty resilient now.
Right.
So like, I'm going to show you guys, like, I'll keep the train going, right? But make sure you're tied on the back, because I'm not slowing down kind of thing, which I think is so impactful, especially to like kids, right? Especially women now, like, because like women are in an industry where they're so torn between, they have to make choices, right? Between career or being a mother or, you know, like it's this old saying where it's like, a woman damned if she do, damned if she doesn't, because it's like, you know, a man steps in to defend a woman, right? As a man, you should step in to defend a woman, but are you taking away her credibility by being able to defend herself? Like, you know what I mean? Like either way, she's like, either had someone step in for you, or now you're getting questioned, could you defend yourself? Like it's so hard for women to do that. So I can appreciate you doing that for your daughter and like showing her like you have a choice. Like grandma stayed home and I went to work and I was present. So
it's like you
either way you can do it.
You can do either, and I feel like unless it's modeled to you, you don't really know what's possible. You kind of, as kids, only know what you were raised with, right, and see. So I think it's like our world has evolved in so many ways, but I feel like in this component, it's like still lagging, where there's like women are working and building businesses and being moms, but there's still so much more pressure that falls on women than men. Yeah. And I feel like it's
a lot of that's on men too. And I hate to say it, but like even like surrounding myself around people, I find men are very complacent on just picking up the slack. You know, just doing the thing. It's kind of like, if I'm at home with Katja, like we have a really good system where like there's no jobs. Just if it has to get done, fucking do it. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of men aren't like that. And I feel like they have the shutters on because they were raised like that, where it's kind of like, that's not my job, I'm not doing it. But they don't even see and acknowledge that it's a job to do around the house or with the kids or anything like that. And they're just oblivious to it. You know what I mean? But
it's tricky
as an adult, because as an adult, when you hit a certain age, to me, it's like, that's no longer an excuse.
It's tricky though, because so many people are like raised seeing that like dad went to work, mom stayed home. But then like our world isn't like that anymore.
Not at all.
So it's just kind of like, well, that's not what I knew growing up. And now things are a totally different way, and being able to like integrate those two worlds now together at home and in business.
So after all this, people are going to watch this podcast, all 11 of them. They say, holy shit, I want to get on the phone with Anna. I want her to mentor me. But who mentored her? Do you have a mentor, or do you have someone that you looked up to, or someone you called when you had a hard time, or was it just trucking through the mud?
I had a couple like throughout. It's never been the same person. I feel like as each like chapter of my life progressed, there seemed to be a new person that I looked up to and was a mentor. I think it's very important to like have people that you can just call and bounce ideas off of. Like the people that I call are like, they all seem to be like 10, 15 years older than me, which they have more life experience, right? So I really respect them as business owners, as moms, or whatever the case is. And it's like, you never want to go to someone for advice that hasn't done what you want to do.
Trust me, I was like,
So there's a lot of people that will just give you the advice, but not everyone's doing what you want to do. So it's being very intentional with like who you choose to take the advice from and like mentor you.
But it's a thing though, even with the consulting coaching right now, it's like, I feel like I couldn't really put it out there because like I had to have my business hit 7 figures. I had to be able to build a personal brand. I had to like show up to the gym every day. I had to like start a podcast. I had to like, you know what I mean? Like I had to do certain things to build that authority because I'm like, I can't tell someone what to do if I haven't done the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm an imposter. Like you said, an imposter syndrome, right? So I can appreciate that. And I'm big on mentor. I've unfortunately never had a mentor, but networking has really got me there. So it hasn't been someone in specific where I've called them, but like being around like-minded people has really opened doors for me. Where it's kind of like, not only like help me, but it's like, open my eyes to what's possible. Where I'm like, oh shit, like I'm gonna start a business. And then I get in a room and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like I can really start a business because these people start businesses. Then you get to the next level, it's kind of like, I could have $1 million business. And then you get to the next room, it's kind of like, these guys have 6 businesses. Like, you know what I mean? Like it opens your eyes to what's possible because when you grow up with not much and like a broken family and all that shit, you look at it and kind of say, well, that's not made for me. You almost like set it like a barrier on yourself. I don't know if you've ever felt like that, but you have this barrier where it's kind of like, this is what I'm capable of because everything else is just impossible.
Right.
And then we get into those new rooms with the networking, it's kind of like, no, there's more that's possible because that guy's more fucked up than I am. And he's doing better than I am, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Like just redefining what actually is possible.
Exactly, right? Okay, so I said I was going to try and keep this to an hour. So I want to ask, what's one question you suggest people ask themselves? Just short and sweet.
Who do you really want to be?
Then what's one question you want to be asked? Fuck, that's a good question. Admit it. That's a good question. That's a good question. I know, it's a great question. I should like interview people for a living. That's it.
What do I want to be asked?
Yeah.
My gosh. Wow. I think the first thing that comes to mind is like,
mine would be, what's your limit? I want someone to come to me every single day and say, what's your limit?
But do you even have an answer for that?
No, but that'll be enough to fire me up where I'm going to push myself past that. And I feel like I do ask myself that every day where I'm like, okay, AJ, wake up. What'd you do yesterday? You did this. I'm like, so what's my limit today? If I can have someone ask me that every single day, nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah. I guess like the first thing is probably like what you asked me earlier is like, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, I think everything comes down to a why.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I love that. And then, so floor's yours. You can do your social plugs. You can do a little rant. You can do whatever you want now. Like, you always try and give someone last minute to kind of shout out. I know like 6 people have already tried to call into the show today and get a hold of you. So
no, I guess like, I mean, we have the journal and I know you mentioned it, but the journal is on Amazon.
Yeah. We'll put all the notes in the show too.
If anyone wants to purchase it, it's on Amazon. I'm incredibly proud of it. Follow me on Instagram. I'm sure you'll put that in the social handles too. But yeah, just I think what I want to just end off with is I know there's a lot of people that like really look up and respect the business I've built, and I think just really understanding again why someone's doing what they're doing and recognizing that like everyone has a story and just really leaning into what's your story and you can't be anyone else. I know we hear that quote all the time, but you really just have to like lean into yourself. And I feel like that's when I started seeing the success, is just leaning in more to who I am, not who everyone's telling me to be or who I think I should be based on what's on social media, and just be you. And it's hard. It's so easy to say, but it's so hard to do.
100%. I like that. So easy to say, hard to do. Another episode, Forget the Noise. We had Anna on today. We got into personal stuff, motherhood, business, trends, journaling, authors, masterminds. We've talked about it all. We even got some phone calls. So wait till next week. Another episode, Forget the Noise podcast. Thank you very much. AJ Cappuccini signing off.